Hello, everybody. Yes, I am back with more absinthe, much to the chagrin of, I'm sure, a few people. But people were asking for this, so I just thought, might as well do it. And I know we're doing the H.P. Lovecraft stuff now, but it seemed appropriate. Absinthe, Lovecraft, makes sense to me. But anyway, the reason why I'm doing this now, because I teased on, I think, the Facebook page, that I was going to do this months ago. And that's because I acquired 2 out of the 3 absinthes I wanted to do. I was kind of in 2 minds of whether I wanted to do it then or wait until I could get the 3rd one. As you could probably guess, I got the 3rd one. So, this is basically a video about not really the 3 best absinthes, because I am nowhere near qualified to say that. Just really the 3 I would say are my favourite. Well, 2 are my favourite, 1 is more of a novelty, but we'll get into that in a second. Starting off, I've actually did a little bit more research into what I would consider are the reasons why absinthe was so stigmatised, and it's no surprise that one of the reasons might have been the Bible. I know. But let me just quote you the paragraph. "And the name of the star is called Wormwood, and the 3rd part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter." Yeah, essentially, Revelations 18:11 prophesizes the coming of, it's not very specific, being the Bible, either a star or an angel or something like that, called Wormwood, and it turned waters bitter. And a lot of it is not literal, as not the Bible should be taken. It's kind of using wormwood as a metaphor for turning waters bad, because people, you could say it, turned it bad, but that doesn't really get across what it's saying. So instead they chose to put wormwood, because everyone knew what wormwood tasted like. It's like wormwood. So in a way, because absinthe is primarily wormwood, or at least that's what people think it's primarily, that's kind of part of the stigma. At least that makes sense to me. But that's just me making assumptions. It's just something I saw recently that I thought, yeah, maybe that's a reason. But anyway, enough of the research, and let's get actually on to showing you the different absinthes I have. First of all, I have arguably the absinthe that got me into absinthe, because I remember, like watching interviews with the distiller and all this stuff is very, very interesting. And this one here, this is St. George in the funkiest bottle I've ever seen. I love this bottle. It looks like a medicine bottle, and there's a kind of, they got a lot of red crosses all over it, which kind of makes you think, is this medicine? It does look like medicine. But anyway, this is St. George, fine brandy with the choicest herbs, but it is an absinthe. It does say absinthe there on the top. And yeah, as it says, this is actually, it's not unique, but it's certainly interesting. They actually took a really nice brandy base first, and then made it into an absinthe. Because a lot of people use, what is it? I think it's like a vermouth. They usually take a vermouth, but they took a brandy, and they made something quite wonderful out of it. And I do enjoy it. Even though this bottle is very full, I was kind of waiting to do this video, if I'm honest. But yeah. And as it says here, which is very handy for me, fine brandy, star anise, mint, wormwood, of course, lemon balm, hyssop, meadowsweet, basil, fennel, tarragon, and stinging nettles. That's nice. And yeah, Lance C. Winters is the distiller. I love that guy. He's got absolutely great opinions about absinthe. If you can find interviews with Lance C. Winters, do it, because it's fucking interesting stuff. Anyway, this is 60% as well, which is not blow your head off, because absinthe shouldn't have a blow your head off amount of alcohol in it. It's just stupid, because then all you can taste is the alcohol and you destroy your taste buds. It's pointless. Anyway, more on that in a second. Next up, arguably the most, I wouldn't say controversial, because that's giving him way too much credit, but certainly the more gimmicky of the absinthes I own. Yes, this is Manson. Yeah, Obviously, absinthe made by Marilyn Manson. I say made. He just kind of oversaw how it tasted. He didn't actually make it himself. He didn't do the brewing or he didn't do the distilling. But that's nitpicking. This is actually a Swiss absinthe, so not French. I should say as well. This is actually American. More on that in a second when I get to the last bottle. But yeah, this is a Swiss absinthe. I honestly haven't been fond of Swiss absinthes. I've got to be honest. And I have tasted this, and it's a Swiss absinthe, unfortunately. And yeah, it's won a load of awards and all this stuff. The artwork's very nice. That's Me When I Get Old, I believe the painting is called, by Manson, and it's painted with absinthe, because why not? And I got nothing against Manson. I like Manson. Brian, I love Brian. And yeah, it's all right stuff. I mean, it's available as well. That's another thing about doing this, is that sometimes they are difficult to acquire in America. But this is not difficult to acquire. You can get this in America, and of course you can get St. George in America because it's an American distiller. So that's why I'm also doing this, is because these are readily available for your consumption. Right, on to the last one. The last one is very, very special. I have not opened this. This is one I have not opened at all, because it's very special. This is Jade, 1901, by Jade Liqueurs, who, if you know anything about absinthe, they did, what was it? I can't remember what the hell it was called now. They did another absinthe that was all the rage at the time. If I come up with the name, I'll get back to you. The label on the back is all in French, so I'm screwed. But what's notable about this is that this is by Jade Liqueurs, and it's actually signed. It's not really signed. It's actually part of the label, but it's signed by Ted Bro, who, if you watch my other videos, Ted Bro is incredibly influential in the absinthe world. Because he's basically the reason. If you are in America and you are enjoying absinthe, you have him to thank. You have to thank Ted Bro, because he is the one who proved that absinthe was not dangerous. He proved it, and he was the one that campaigned for it to get the ban lifted in America. So we have him to thank for quite a lot of stuff, because without him, we wouldn't get St. George. Without him, we possibly wouldn't get Manson. Basically, the recipe for this is identical to the recipe from 1901. This is possibly the most accurate absinthe you could possibly buy, and there are others from Jade Liqueurs that are similar. I wanted to get this one because this is like a classic. So yeah, and it's very traditional, and this is, where is it? Again, 68% alcohol. Now, as I just said, very traditional, almost exactly like the original absinthe, and it's only 68%. So, if you see an absinthe that's like 80, 90%, chuck it out the window. It doesn't need to be that alcoholic. They're not that alcoholic. Yes, they are very alcoholic in terms of other spirits and stuff, but still, because you water it down, it doesn't matter. Do not drink absinthe straight. If you drink absinthe straight, you're a fucking idiot. Okay? So anyway, let's start by having a look at these different absinthes. We're going to start with the St. George, because it's the middle one. It's not gimmicky and it's not legendary, but it's still pretty fucking good. Right, first of all, we are going to smell it. Very subtle. It's not actually, again, when you smell it, it doesn't blow your head off. And it doesn't. It's really quite nice. I got no problems with that smell. It's really very minty, but not like the other absinthe I did. And you can actually smell all the different individual herbs. And that's what an absinthe should be. Right. Now that we've smelt it, from the bottle anyway, let's move on to glass. Now, I probably did a cutaway there to pouring it. I hope I did, anyway. And what I noticed, which is very good, you can actually see the colour in that. It's kind of a autumnal leaf, I reckon, and it's in smaller quantities. You can see the colour. See, because here it just looks brown and not very interesting, but here you can actually see it's slightly greener in the glass, and it's really nice, and it smells amazing. Actually, one of the best smelling absinthes I've ever had. Let me put the top on. Hold on. Anyway, so yeah, this actually smells really, really good. It's sweet. A lot of the fennel and a lot of the anise and wormwood, the traditional ones, but you can smell the brandy, and it smells really good. And I got nothing to complain about it. And I've said these are my favorite absinthes. And this is not really a review. This is just me showing off what I think are really nice absinthes. And yeah, it's really nice. No problems with that whatsoever. Smells great, and I'm sure it'll taste great in a second. I am not going to taste it like this, so don't even think about it. Okay? Right, I'm going to put it underneath the fountain, and I'm going to start dripping some water into it. And again, no sugar, because that's just an insult. I'm not even going to put sugar in the Manson. And I'm not saying I don't like the Manson. I'm making fun. Anyway. So yeah, we're going to get some water into this, and then we'll see what it looks like. Okay, hopefully I filmed the louche in as artistic way as possible. I do like that. And that was a really nice louche. That's one of the things you look for when you get a good absinthe, is that whether the louche is, nice to look at. And it was a bit quick, very quick, in fact. And as you can see, you can see the color difference immediately. Look at it. It's all gone. You can't see through it at all. That's clear. You can't see through this at all. And I think that's quite magical, if I can be a bit poncy for a second. But no, it's really great. I loved watching that. It was very nice. And I guess we shall try it. And obviously, when the water hit it, the whole room smelled of absinthe after that. It was instantaneous, which is quite impressive. It's got really nice smell as well to emanate throughout the room, so it doesn't stink out the room. And yeah, I'm putting off. Don't know why I'm putting off. Anyway. Yeah. I mean, I've tasted this before, so this is not new, but it tastes great. It's really nice. It's very traditional absinthe flavors with the added slight sweetness. There's no bitterness. Again, ironically for a wormwood drink, there's no bitterness there. Oh, maybe a little bit. Now that I'm saying that, yeah, there might be a little bit of bitterness there, but I think the bitterness kind of goes when you louche it, and it's really nice. I can't say that enough. This is my favorite because it's a little bit more readily available, and it doesn't mess around, I think, as well. It's absinthe, drink it. Let's not pontificate about it for no fucking reason. It's just straight up good drink. You could enjoy this the same way you'd enjoy a beer. Obviously it would take a little bit more time than a beer, but that's kind of the point of absinthe as well. So yeah, I am going to finish this. It's only 1 o'clock. I might have to put this into a different glass. But I'll be right back, and we'll be doing the Manson next, I think. Because I want to save the Jade for the last, because that's one I haven't even opened, and I'm very excited to try that. Okay, I'm back. I didn't drink all of that. I just left it over there. Anyway, so we're going to move on to Manson. Yes. I forgot to mention before as well. The distiller says that it is not artificially coloured, which is a good distinction to point out. We shall compare it to the colour of the St. George, because look at that. That looks like tea. That looks like tea in the bottle. So we shall check, because this bottle is not. This bottle is clear, so it's almost designed to change color over time from the bright green to this autumnal color. It's designed to do that, to show that it's not artificially colored. This is in one of those, that colored wine bottle kind of thing. So it won't color, at least not as quickly as the St. George will. So in theory, it will maintain its color. We shall see. Actually, before I put it into glass, I just remembered I should smell it first. And I have opened this before, but it should be okay. And holy crap, that smells almost completely different to the St. George. What the hell is that smell? You know what? You know what it kind of smells like? And this is really weird for an absinthe. It kind of smells like treacle. That's it. It's treacle. There's a really sweet treacle smell to it. That is really odd. I don't know why it's smelling like that. Should I be worried about that? I've never had an absinthe smell like that. That's really nice, though. Anyway, we shall put it into the glass and then we'll see if the smell remains. Now, that had me worried, because I was watching that the same as you through the viewfinder, and watching that drip in, and it looked suspiciously like that really fucking awful absinthe I had once. However, I should say, if you look at it now, it's a lot greener. It's not as... For some reason, when I was recording it down there, it was kind of bluey. It's a kind of a bluish colour. But it's not actually blue. It's actually a really, really, really light green, almost yellow. Yeah, very kind of... I don't want to say anemic, because that sounds unfair, but it's a very understated colour for an absinthe, in my opinion. That treacle smell, no idea where that came from. But yeah, it's not really there anymore. It does smell like a proper absinthe, though. Yeah, the alcohol, you can tell, it's a very alcoholic smell. Because because when I smelt the St. George the same way, it did not smell alcoholic. I didn't get the burn on my nose. I get a bit of burn here. Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't smell bad. I'm going to say that. It does not smell bad. You can smell all the traditional flavours, and it smells very, very decent. And of course, the colour is not particularly worrying, because it does look green. However, I do remember somewhere that I think it was the anise and wormwood was significantly downplayed for Manson. I'm not saying that that's true. I'm just saying I've heard that. It's possible. The reason why the wormwood and the anise and all that stuff is kind of downplayed slightly is to appeal to the American market. That's what I've heard. I could be wrong, though. But it doesn't smell bad. It just smells a bit... It just smells a bit weaker than the St. George. The St. George was a lot more powerful in terms of its aromas. And yeah, it smells fine. A lot more bitter. I would say that. The bitterness comes through a lot. So it depends. If you like a bitter drink, you like Manson. I personally don't like the bitterness, and there's no problem with that. No problem with that. It smells good. So we shall see when it lushes. This bit I'm very, very curious about. Because those essential oils are further down, in theory, the louche won't be as big, and it might not go as cloudy as other absinthes do. We shall see. It's hard to say. But yeah, let's get to it. Now, I have to admit, I'm more than a little disappointed with that louche. It took a really long time, and there were points where it was really nice to watch, and you could see the sort of the swirling kind of bubbles and all this stuff going on. But the end result is not very nice to look at, in my opinion. It's a bit watery, and that's not because I diluted it down. It's because you saw I pretty much did it the exact same way for St. George. I even put the same amount of water just for consistency's sake. And yeah, it's it's really watery, and because when it looshes, it should look that kind of pearlescent creaminess, and that's really not very nice, in my opinion. It's just, ugh, I don't like that. It's slightly see-through, I guess. I don't really want to put more water in because I don't know how that would help. And yeah, it's just the appearance is not what I like. It is not for me. How about the taste? We might as well taste it. Yeah, you can still smell the bitterness. It's very bitter. Woohoo! I've tried this once before, a long time ago when I first got it. Not a fan. I am not a fan of that. I'm sorry, Brian, but it's not. It's not for me. However, I will say that it's could be for someone. It's just not for me. And it's not because it's Manson or anything like that. It's just as an absinthe, I've tasted better, or at least I've tasted ones that I prefer, because that is not my thing. It's a bit too bitter. It's a bit too much burn on the alcohol, and yeah, that's about it really. If you like a bitter drink and you like it a bit of a bite when you drink something, and it does bite the back of your throat, then it's for you. Just, it's not for me. And again, as I said at the very beginning, this is exactly how pretty much Swiss absinthes go for me. Pretty much. So, yeah. Not for me. It's a nice gimmick, and obviously I'll keep the bottle, but no. And I think it's the cheapest, obviously, of the three I have here, so that's something. But yeah, not for me. I'm going to move on, because that's all I can say about it, really. It's absinthe. It's okay. It's good, but not for me. Okay, now we're on to the most anticipated absinthe we have here. This is the Jade 1901. Yeah, not sure what to expect from this, but I'm expecting something pretty special. And like I said, this is arguably the most accurate absinthe you'll ever buy. Debatable, but we shall see. And yeah, the top has got a really nifty kind of wax seal. I really like that. Again, traditional. So, my chair will creak, but I'm going to use the thing to open up the bottle. Okay, the struggle is over, and we have a problem. It's a cork. As in a proper wine cork. I said he was traditional. That's really irritating, actually. Because, I mean, the other two are corks as well, but you can reseal them. I can't reseal this shit. So I'm guessing it's going to be a lot of fucking absinthe in my future. And it's actually a wooden cork as well, which is worrying. Right, okay. Okay. Couldn't find another corkscrew. Had to use this one. And as you can see, I got the cork out, but I really kind of jacked it up. Not great. Kind of ruined that. But it's okay. No need to worry. I have stoppers and stuff. It's fine. Yeah, this will be fine. And if I may, from the cork, it smells very, 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 very good. Kind of anxious to get this going. So let's move on to the pouring. So we shall see what it looks like, because I'm very curious to see what this looks like. If it's like really bright green or not, or, you know, something else like the St. George. We shall see. Yeah, so let's have a look. Okay, now that's a nice colour. I approve of that colour. It's very green, very bright, and yeah, it smells really good. Really, really good. I know I've said that for everything here, but It's you can tell that this is something special. Yeah, really good. And I think the color alone sells it for me, because that's, I don't know if you can see that, but it's like really nice, a nice green color. It's a natural green color as well, because it's not reactor coolant, it's not cartoony green. It's a really natural color that you can tell comes from plants, and that is gorgeous. So let's move on to it looshing and see how this is going to loosh. Again, kind of looking forward to this. Let's have a look. Now that is more like it. See, no wateriness at all. It's really milky and delicious looking, and opalescent. I love it. I love how it turns this kind of creamy colour. It's so nice. And you should have saw the looshing. The looshing was really nice to watch, actually. You could really see it swirling, and how the undiluted absinthe was being knocked into the diluted stuff, and it was swirling. Oh, that was great to watch. Everything about this, fantastic. Anyway, enough putting it off. Let's actually taste this thing. Again, completely different to the other two. But this, it's got a lot of bitterness. But, this might sound weird, but it's a different kind of bitterness to the Manson, because it's like the Manson's bitterness was harsh. This is, it's almost like I'm trying to think of a good analogy. I can't think of one. I'm not very eloquent, to be honest. It's just a nice bitterness in this. That was too harsh. This is nice, in my opinion. But of course, that's not the only thing. I mean, that's one of the first things you get. But it's a nice it's a nice biting on your tongue, and you get it all over, and it kind of coats your palate really nicely. It's quite hard to describe, actually, but it's really good. Of course, the downside of this being really, really good is that that's probably the most expensive bottle here, and you're not going to find a cheap bottle of this, unfortunately. But you get what you pay for, especially when it comes to absinthe. The cheaper the absinthe, I can guarantee you, is the shittest. The shitter the absinthe, the cheaper it is. Simple as that. You get what you pay for. And you can find a decent middle ground. I would say St. George is a decent middle ground. This is very much the enthusiast. I am neither a connoisseur nor an expert. I am an enthusiast. I know what I like, and I likes what I see. Simple as that. And I like the fact that it's still got this really nice sort of green to it. It's not white. I don't like it when absinthe goes completely white. So it's got a nice green colour. You can't see through it at all. It's absolutely gorgeous. Yes. So, in conclusion, we have 3 absinthes here. The St. George, I would recommend if you like your absinthes particularly sweet, because that's all you need. And again, you don't need sugar. Use St. George, no problem. It's a nice sort of slightly sweet, still got that bitterness, still a very good absinthe. If you don't like the sweetness and you like it really bitter and kind of harsh, then go for the Manson. Simple as that. Now, the Jade 1901, that's something special. That's a piece of history. That is a traditional recipe from 1901. I'm trying to figure out when it's from. It says it on the fucking bottle. That's a traditional recipe from 1901. Traditional and the most accurate thing you can find. And it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. No problems. So yeah, you can't go wrong with those 3, because each one of these particular ones is pretty much perfect for any kind of absinthe taste. So yeah, and if you stick to these, you can't get fucked by people, and you can't get fucked by businesses who make shit, and make alcohol, coloured alcohol, and that's all it is. You can't go wrong with these. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I've got not much to say about it, really. I'm just here to relax now. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video. Oh, there's a kind of tingling numbness happening now. That would be the sort of the wormwood to it. Yeah, really quite nice. Sorry. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't, unless I think of something really specific I want to do about absinthe. I don't know if I'll do these again. It kind of finishes off the absinthe trilogy that I've put on the channel. You know, it's all encompassing. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it, as of course I did, because I got to drink some really good absinthe. Please like and subscribe. It really does help a lot. And may your absinthe never need sugar. Bye.